I think we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live coffee chat. We have Paige from the Paige Studio with us today. And as you know, I'm the co-founder of the Bucketlist Bombshells, where we teach millennial female grads how to build online service-based businesses that give them the freedom to travel the world. So if you've been with us for a while and you've been joining us on coffee chats, welcome. And if it's your first time, I'm really excited for you to sit down with us and talk all about Squarespace website design. So if you already have your questions ready and prepared, you can start shooting those into the comments and we'll go through them as we're talking with Paige. And so you don't need to wait. You want to shoot those into the comments as soon as possible. That's really helpful for us. And we'll make sure that we get all your cues answered today on the call. Now, just a couple things before we jump in. I want to remind you, ladies, that we have a Work Online and Travel the World course giveaway happening right now. Super exciting. Or sorry, happening tomorrow, not right now, but coming up. Like, you need to get on the list. You'll find the link inside of the text above this video. And you're going to receive an email from us Wednesday morning for a link to our article feature in Forbes. So this is a really big deal for us. We're so excited, and we would love for you to help us spread the word. And in exchange, we're going to give away we're going to give away 3 spots into the Work Online and Travel the World course. So that's our signature course, and that's the course where we teach Squarespace website design. So it's really cool that we're talking about that today. So keep that in mind too. And then second, we have our San Diego BB meetup happening this Friday. Cassie's going to be hosting it. So all you San Diegoers, get out there, have a drink, mingle, have some fun. So remember to mark going inside of that event. All right, so that is all of the announcements I have for you. So I would love to hand it over to Paige. And if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business and your journey kind of becoming a globetrotting girl boss.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about what you guys do. I remember seeing what you did on Facebook and being like, oh my God, that's a real thing. It's fantastic.
We get that so much. We're like, yeah, it is. Come join us.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I'm Paige. I'm from Toronto. I live in Hanover, Germany. So that's, if you're not familiar, right in the center of Germany, which is in the center of Europe, which is obviously fantastic.
Oh, I love that you're from Germany I love that you're Canadian like me, but you're living in Germany. I got to pick your brain about that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Tell you all about life in Germany for sure. Language is not easy. I'll tell you that right now, but
I already struggled.
Yeah. So I'm a Squarespace website designer. I started my design studio 2 years ago. I started it while doing my master's degree because obviously I had a ton of free time on my hands.
Wow.
So I did that for a good 1.5 years part-time, and then I went full-time this past January. So what I do mostly is I help online entrepreneurs launch websites that they love. Most of my clients are female. I have a more feminine style that attracts more female clients.
Yeah, your website is so pretty.
Thanks. Gotta have a good website if you're a website designer.
True, yes.
Yeah, so I specialize in Squarespace. I just strictly do Squarespace websites. I do a bit of branding as well, but in terms of like the platform I use, it's only ever Squarespace. I do things a little bit differently with, I have a 2-week process. So that's definitely different than most people. So we'll definitely talk about that more.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more about this 2-week process. I know that you and Cass have been talking about it, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to share this with the girls because as a website designer, I always wanted to implement something like that. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But you mentioned that you just work on Squarespace. So why did you choose Squarespace over working with WordPress and maybe even Wix? Some of our girls have asked us about that one before. I'd love to get your opinion on that.
Definitely. So I had worked just through different jobs doing some website design before, sort of updating and editing websites. And so I'd worked on WordPress for those websites, and I just hated it. I felt like smacking my head off against a wall because it just... It's so difficult.
Lots of customization going on and plugins.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can build that, good job. But for me, I was like, this is damn difficult. So I found Squarespace. I started a travel blog back in the day, and I built it on Squarespace. And so that's how that all sort of started. So I just taught myself purely 100% how to use Squarespace, built my own website, decided I wanted to maybe start my own web design studio, but had, no experience doing that at all. So I was definitely nervous before I started. So it just turned out, oddly, the way it really began was I was going to school in Mississippi, and I had a class, and the class, we were going on a field trip to some nonprofit, and it was our job to sort of learn about the nonprofit and everything, and what their biggest challenges were with their business. And it turns out they were environmental education people. So they knew nature, but they knew nothing about websites. And so they were
or running anything online, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, geez.
Hardcore nature people. So that was wonderful. They're really nice, but they're we don't know what to do about marketing because our website sucks and it's going to be super expensive and we don't have any money. We're a nonprofit. So I was like, oh, well, actually I can help you with that. And so that was the first client website I did. So that one I did for free. And then after that I started building my portfolio, and then that's how that all started.
Interesting. So you did your first one for free to kind of gain experience.
Yeah.
And do you think is that something you would recommend for new designers?
I think it was good because I think at that time I would have been too nervous to fully charge someone because I had no idea even if the process, the 2-week thing, would work or not.
Yeah.
So it built a lot of confidence within me when they loved their website and it turned out really well. That gave me the confidence to be able to start charging. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it was good. Maybe not. If you find a nonprofit or a friend or family member or someone who needs something done, that might be a good way to go, I'd say.
Yeah, I did my first one I did for a lower rate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got into that. And it was a friend of a friend or family member, something like that. So yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. You also mentioned that you taught yourself web design. So what kind of resources, or where did you find these resources for Squarespace? Yeah.
So the Squarespace website has just a boatload of resources. So they have this whole guides page. So you go to Squarespace support, I think, and then they have all these different types of guides. So I started with just the intro guide, just learning how to do basic things like adding photos, moving stuff around and all that sort of thing. And then I think on Skillshare, they also have a free course. There's a few free places that have free courses. And then researching a lot of blogs and then just playing with it myself. And that's basically how I taught myself most of what I know now.
Yeah, same. I did WordPress, but pretty much similar thing. I was all right, I'm going to get on YouTube and forums and pretty much self-teach. So now, we have that now in our tech skills course, and I'm so excited to be hey, ladies, here is everything I struggled with, but here's all the right things to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of trial and error when you just use it.
Yes, yeah. Same with the Squarespace. I think we may have had a little freezing going on there. Are you still with us, Paige? Oh, there we go. Yeah. I think you're back. It was just frozen for a second there.
Okay.
That's great. So I see some questions coming in here. So why don't we go through a couple of these? Jakey says, do you get any objections from clients when you tell them that you only use Squarespace?
No. I think the people who inquire with me know that I only use Squarespace. So I think I probably my website probably deters them if they want something that's not Squarespace. So I've never had any objections to it. So it's sort of, I've niched down. And so when you niche, it will attract some people and deter other people. So I've never had someone come to me and say, no, I don't want a Squarespace website. Because I guess they already know by the time they get in touch with me. So
that makes sense. Yeah, I could see that from your website. It's very specific. That I
don't write about anything else. Yeah.
So don't even bother contacting me.
Which so I'm sure it deters people. No question. People don't get in touch with me, but that's okay.
But that's okay because you now have such a honed skill in one area that you can just produce something better than maybe someone who's trying to offer both.
Exactly.
And kind of learn both platforms. So it's always my recommendation, especially with website design, to focus on one area with tech just to really understand it. So wow.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think if you're a big design agency, you can offer lots of different types, and that's fantastic because whatever person comes to you, you can offer what they want. But when you're a one-woman studio, trying to be good at 7 things is kind of tough. So if you just specialize in one and get really good at that, that's probably the easier, better way to go.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. So Erica says, do you code? So I'm not.
Do I code? Yeah.
Yeah, and so you would do that inside of Squarespace. To make
Yep.
Customized and.
Yeah. So if I do coding, it's mostly CSS. It's not. Okay, so on my own website, there's definitely more coding than the average website I make for a client. And I find for clients, I don't like giving them websites that have a lot of coding done to it, because then they start getting confused as to how exactly things are done.
Right.
So when it comes to client websites, I actually really make an effort to just use what Squarespace offers, a little CSS tweaking. So do I code, but I don't honestly do that much on client websites.
That's probably better. Does it help with like ongoing maintenance for your clients to just be able to kind of manage their site on their own?
Exactly.
Is that kind of why you don't? Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
So I actually do an hour-and-a-half lesson at the end of every website design. So they are pretty self-sufficient by the time they're done. And so I don't do retainers with them or anything, which helps me travel easier because I don't have people constantly needing me. So they're pretty self-sufficient, which is good for me.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads us into, we have this other question that's going to lead us into the 2-week process. So Rachel said, how long did it take you to have a steady flow of work? So maybe we can relate that to your 2-week process as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I started, when I first started, so I was doing part-time. And so I wouldn't say that was necessarily steady, but I also wasn't making a serious effort to be steady because I had a master's I was doing at the time.
Because you were going to school
for
40 hours a week.
Yeah. So as people came to me, I just took on the projects. But so then what I did when I went to go full-time was I had a company. They're based in Philadelphia. And they always need people to do Squarespace website design. So anytime that my calendar wasn't full, I was able to take on their projects. So I did go pretty seamlessly from having their projects to having my own projects. So I was consistently booked, but not just with my own projects. So that was sort of like from the time I went full time, I told them I could take on this many projects. They gave it to me. And then I started transitioning into more of my own. So that definitely took a few months to get booked with my own. Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you meet this company, or how did you build that relationship with them?
I put some of my design work on Dribbble. And then they found me through that. And so that's how that got started. They just sent me an email, told me about their company. I had people contact me before, other design studios who had just found me online, who wanted someone to do Squarespace web design. Because I guess some of them were like WordPress developers or studios, and they wanted to add a new service. So they wanted a new person to work with them. Some of the other ones, though, they were giving terrible percentages. Like, you get 30%. And I was like, So I waited until one was actually sounded reasonable.
That's nice. So maybe reaching out to agencies. We've talked about that before.
Totally.
So that's really amazing that you had someone reach out to you and then just finding the right fit for that.
Yeah.
And so transitioned from getting clients from them, and then you transitioned into finding your own clients, or how did that transition sort of work?
Yeah, so I had done projects in the past. So the way that I get clients mostly now is I create a boatload of content on my blog about Squarespace. So I do a lot of content marketing. That is something I heard from a lot of other online business owners. They were all saying, content marketing, content marketing, content marketing. That's the way that I get clients. I was like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do then. So that's what I started doing. So a lot of people recently have started coming through my different posts. So say I have a Squarespace template comparison chart, and a lot of people have been like, oh, I found that, and then I found you, and then I got in touch. And then the other way is people will see me through like past websites that I've done. Just in the footer, it always has designed by the Paige Studio. And so those are the two main ways. Did I answer the question? I forgot. What did you?
Yeah, I was asking about kind of how you transitioned from getting agency clients to getting your own clients. So
that's how
your content marketing is mostly amazing. And then for your 2-week, I know we got a little off track there, but the original question was how do you, I guess, book out using this 2-week process, or how does this work within your business? Because I think this is just such a cool thing that I, as a website designer or previous website designer, I really wanted to do something like this.
Yeah, definitely. So I will not take credit for thinking this up. This was not my own idea. I saw another website designer. Disclaimer, I didn't think it up. I saw someone else who was doing it online and thought that was a great idea, especially at the time. I was doing masters. I was like, I don't want to have 7 clients going at the same time. It's too much to juggle and everything. I'd rather commit to one. So how it works basically on the back end is in the first week, they have all of their content prepared before we start. So because we're doing a website so quickly, people tend to know, like, you got to have it done beforehand. So even if I wasn't booked at the time, I would just always book my clients at least a month out to give them time to get their...
Do you send them like how do you gather the content from them?
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing I do is I send them a welcome document once they've booked with me. And so I actually have a copy of that on my website. I'm redoing my welcome doc right now. So I send them the welcome document. I used to send them emails and just be like, okay, this is what you need to do with your text, and this is what you need to do with your photos. And then I was like, this takes absolutely forever for every person. So I just made a document, and then I set them up a Google Drive folder and a Google Doc. And the Google Doc has just a little bit of information being like, this is how to write content. If you want to write me instructions, like write it in red. Then for their photos, they drop them all in the Google Drive folder.
Perfect.
And if they want to tell me specifically, like, I want this picture on the homepage, they just name that image, wherever they want it to go on their site.
So organized. I love it.
Yeah. So the welcome document pretty much takes them through like how to prepare their content, how to send me their logins, their Pinterest inspiration board, what to put on their Pinterest inspiration board. Later I'll go in the comments and I'll drop a link to where you can download the welcome doc so you can get an idea of exactly what that is. Yeah.
We'd love that.
So that's how collecting content works. And then on the first day of the design period, so it's always 2 weeks, the first Monday, I do a 1-hour initial consultation with them, sort of just to get clear. So I have all their content, I have their information and their Pinterest inspiration board. So we go through and we chat out specifically. This is when we generally like pick a template. They get specific about, like, I get them to go through their inspiration websites and say, I really like this about this website. And so we sort of determine exactly what we need in their website and their template and everything. And then in the first week, I just build out the entire website. So I take all their content.
That's crazy. I love it.
Squarespace, I create a website. So I tend to marathon my work. So I'll sit down for like 8 hours and just like knock out half a website in like a day. So yeah, that's how that goes.
So how long, like use 8 hours for like half websites to about 16 hours for the full website?
It depends on how big the project is and how complex they want it to be. If it's a simpler project, yeah, like 8 hours could be like half a website. Another 8 hour day could be like the other half. Yeah, if it's a more complex site or more pages, or they want like e-commerce, or they want a bunch of integrations like for bookings and appointment scheduling, then it might take me a little bit longer. So yeah, but it is possible. Maybe if you want to like test it out, go try and, I don't know, build a website for someone in a couple days and see how it goes. You can totally do it.
I agree. If you sit down and just bang it out, you can get that done in a few days. And I love that.
Totally.
So the 2 week turnaround time, basically you're working on it for about 2 to 3 days. And then the rest is sort of communications back and forth and then wrapping up or revisions. Would that kind of be how that like sums it up?
Yeah, so at the end of the first week, I send them a link to the live website, and then from there they go on, and then they send me a list of edits. And so they just send me one big list, and they say, I want this here, and this there, and that color like this. And then I just go through, do the edits, send it back. When you only have one client, it's super easy. And they also, and for them, it's like, this is a big week for them because they know they need to be like on the ball and on their email and responding back. And so because there's sort of a fire under their ass, they do it.
I was going to ask about that. Like, how do you ever find like they're dragging their feet? But I guess this is sort of very established.
It's not a problem, which is so great because I hear about other website designers. Oh, my client is taking me forever to get back the edits and blah, blah, blah. And they've asked their 79-person family for feedback and now it's taking forever. And so, but yeah, that doesn't happen because when they know that they have that week to get their edits in, they just like go like crazy. And I don't give them a limit on like revision rounds or anything. It's like our limit is the Friday of week 2. So however many you get to me in that time, that's good. So
that's cool.
Yep. And then
yeah, sorry, keep going.
On the second Friday, we just do our hour-and-a-half call. I launch their website with them, give them a tour of the background, and they're good to go, and they go on to the next one.
And you're like, all right, next.
See you later.
And how does invoicing work? What is your invoicing structure with projects like these?
Yeah, so I do 50% to book the their design date. So I have the design date, the design calendar on my website, on my services page. So you can see all the dates that I'm booked and all the dates I have available. So to book their design date, to save it for themselves, they need to pay a 50% invoice of the project cost.
Okay.
So I use Hello Bonsai for my invoices and contracts.
Hello Bonsai. Okay. I haven't heard of that one. We'll pop that into the comments there for you ladies.
Yeah, I really like it. So Hello Bonsai is what I use for that.
Okay.
And then the other 50% is due when their website is finished on the last day of the design period. So they can see their website, it's all done. And then I never have a problem getting payments because they either don't get their design date or they don't launch their website. So it's always paid on time.
Amazing. Okay, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such good insight.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I love that. That's exactly what I wanted to do.
Good.
So we have some other questions coming in here. So Iris says, have you used paid social or paid search ads before? So
I have not. I've definitely considered it. But I guess, so my projects range between like 2,500 to 3,000. And so I think if you want to sell like courses or something, or maybe products, might be easier if you're selling like, I don't know, a couple $100 course or maybe a $50 ebook or something. But when you're trying to sell something that big, I feel like you need to sort of build a relationship.
Right.
And I guess when you do paid social, you want your money back pretty quickly. So I haven't gotten into it yet. I'm not saying that I wouldn't, but I feel like for me, I do sort of need to build a relationship. And so blogging is a really good way to do that. To sort of get people to trust me and know that I know what I'm talking about and everything.
Right. That trust and credibility kind of needs to be around.
Yeah. So if you want to get your money back right away from paid social or paid Facebook or Google or whatever, it might be a little harder to get it back as quickly when you're selling such high priced items. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's how I was always about building the relationships first versus kind of trying to do some paid advertising or marketing. I think it's a little harder with that higher price point for sure. Yeah. You also kind of want to, or I like to make sure I feel like a good fit and like, I really like that side of things too. But, so Iris also had a second question in relation to that of, do you have any best practices or advice for figuring out your strategy for Squarespace website design?
Like the strategy of the content, what goes where and everything?
I think she says budget/strategy for Squarespace website design. Iris, maybe if you want to clarify just a little bit, she may still be referring to paid advertising.
Like price. Oh, okay.
Yeah, which we actually, Iris, if you don't mind, just clarifying just a little bit for that question, we'd be happy to answer it for you. So the next one is from Kylie. So she says, you have your web work showcased within a Mac. How did you do that?
Okay, we'll come back to that. So I just got a mock-up. You can find them online. And then I used Illustrator to put in my images. It's huge. It's actually a bit of a pain to do it. I don't love doing it, but looks good.
Yeah, Cassie has it inside the design skills course, and she doesn't know how to do it. I was like blown away because I'm like, so techie and nerdy, and I'm like, well, I should put it in the first time she ever showed me how to do that, and it like really made a difference. We did it for clients and ended up giving them these mock-ups of their site that they could use, and so it made a difference.
Cool.
Do you use any certain programs that kind of help you? Or you say you use Illustrator, but I think
so if
Canva work or something like that?
Canva could probably work too. I would say, yeah. If you get the image, drop it on Canva, then drop your image onto that. I would say probably, yeah.
Maybe. I'm not the designer, so I want to give any like false advice. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was those mock-ups you can find. Do you have any website recommendations?
I don't remember where I got it. I just Googled it. I was like gold MacBook or MacBook Pro or something. Computer mock-up, and I found it.
Okay. So Yale says, how do you differentiate yourself from other companies / online businesses who offer similar services? Yeah.
So one thing which I definitely try to do, so I have a lot more websites that I've actually completed than what are in my portfolio, but I try to keep something like really specific with the look of my own website and the look of the portfolio pieces that I have. You'll notice they're very feminine looking. They're really like sort of designer, large image look to them. So I try to differentiate myself, one, between the look of my portfolio pieces and my own website. Two, the 2-week process is really different than what most people offer. And so it will appeal to some people, and to other people they won't like it, and that's fine. And then the other thing, which is Oh, I just lost it. I had another. That's gone.
Okay, if it comes back to you, you can share it. But I think the biggest differentiating factor is that 2-week process and your design. So people are going to be attracted to the way you design websites.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't make corporate looking things on my website really. So I definitely try to keep those off.
Yeah, I love your site. Lay says, do you recommend WordPress to someone that's just starting off with a smaller budget? What platform would you recommend for a small budget?
Small budget, I would actually say Squarespace, not just because I'm a Squarespace fan, but actually because I think it is cheaper. WordPress, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform, and it's sort of controlled by the people at Squarespace in New York City. And so that's good because they take care of all the back-end stuff. So you do pay a monthly fee to Squarespace for that, but I think it's really worth it in the long run because I know a lot of people who run WordPress websites, they tend to need to have like a developer on call if they don't know how to do it themselves, and that can get expensive. So I think it actually would be cheaper to go Squarespace. I think I've compared the two on my blog, actually. Go read that.
Oh, perfect. We can check that out. I would agree with you, too, because I do WordPress and Squarespace, and we teach that in some courses. And WordPress just has a couple extra fees and some more kind of manual maintenance, which is fine. But I think for someone just starting out, building their site or have a smaller budget, then I would agree with you with Squarespace for sure. Okay, so then Cassie has a question.
Yeah.
The company that you were doing work with, were they a web design agency or an advertising agency?
What are they? They're, it's called hellocompass.com. You can go Google them. They connect creatives with companies that need website projects done. And then they're sort of the middleman in between the two. So they sort of deal, when I do projects with them, they deal with like collecting all the content, communicating a lot with the client, onboarding them, offboarding them, launching them, all that sort of thing. So I'm really just doing the website in those projects.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't really know what you'd call them exactly, but
they're sort of not a web design agency or an advertising agency, but they like
kind of
connect everybody together.
Yeah.
Middleman. We'll just call them a middleman.
Middleman, yeah.
They're like client management. They kind of do all like what so you don't have to do any client management. That's what they handle.
Yeah.
You just design part.
Yeah. So I talk a lot to their project managers. They have a project manager who sort of works with the client and then works with me and then sort of like passes information in between. And
Interesting. Okay. Caitlin says, how long did it take you to be able to make a living off your business?
Yeah. I guess it's not a good example because I did start part-time. So I really like built something before I went full-time. So I was able to sustain myself within, I'd say like 2 to 3 months, but I don't know if that's necessarily normal because I did really have like a bit of previous work built up. And then also, to cover like my full cost of living, it only took like a month or two to actually.
That's really average just based on what we've seen with our students and ourselves about, 1 to 2 months, and people are usually able to cover their living expenses. Yeah.
So Germany's super cheap. So once you go in Europe, Germany's a good one to go to.
Ooh, okay. I got to put that on the list. I've heard Berlin is really good. It's a really good city to
Berlin's really good. Yeah. So Berlin is like huge hipster scene. Really big, like lots of creatives. It's one of the cheaper, it sort of has this like grungy vibe to it. So it's definitely like the cheaper, cooler place to live. If you want a more expensive, it'd be like Munich or Dusseldorf is more like classy and upper class and pricier. But yeah, Berlin's cheaper. Hanover's cheaper. I'm in Hanover because my boyfriend's German. And that's where he lives. So it's not the normal city that most like expats would go to.
Good. So, That's okay. You're going to go for love.
Yes.
All right. So Michelle says, hey, ladies, being sneaky at work, listening to this great topic. So I thought that was kind of cute. So, hey, Michelle, we'll turn the volume down. And Iris did get back to us. She was referring to the paid ads. And so since we don't do paid ads.
Sorry, can't answer that one for you.
No. So ladies, if you want to continue asking questions, keep on sending those through. Oh wait, actually, sorry, I do see more coming through here. It was just, my thing wasn't loading them. Okay,
no worries.
We have 10 more. All right.
Oh, good.
So Carissa says, Paige, this is great insight, and I love how you haven't paid for ads. So she unfortunately had to jump off, but I thought that was cute. Yeah. Let's see. Great job. Here we go. Emily says, how do you come up with topics for your blog?
Yeah, good one. So I blogged for a long time before, so I started a travel blog. It started as a nothing blog. It started as me talking about random things, as most blogs do. And then it sort of morphed into a travel blog. And then I started my web design studio, learned that I should probably blog for my web design studio to bring in people to my website. And so when you actually get really specific with what you're talking about, so I talk about Squarespace website design and I talk about business. Like the main two topics, like how I run my business. So I will talk about like what my process is and everything. All that is on my blog. And like why I do my 2-week process and why I choose to do this over that and all that sort of thing. So when you get really specific with your topic, it's actually easier to think of blog post ideas. So there's a few things I'll do. One, so if you look in Facebook groups with people that need your whatever it is, your service, they tend to ask questions in there. So you can start, that's like literally a blog post idea. Every single question is like, oh, perfect, I'm just going to take that.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah. So I'll just go into Facebook groups, or if there's something new that I've done. So say I just set up a website which the person wanted like a subscription model and a one-time purchase model for their website. And so I made it look the same on the front end, but it's like sold differently on the back end. And so that's an idea for a blog post, because that's something like I just taught myself how to do. So that's probably something else might want to know how to do. So sort of just situations where I've learned something new. That's a blog post video right there. Yeah, exactly. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and sometimes listening to those just gives me ideas. So it's all in a note on my phone, and I just write it down constantly. Anytime I have an idea, and then about once a month I go through and I pick out my best ideas, get rid of the terrible ones, and then
That's great. Do you have like one or two favorite podcasts that you really love listening to?
Oh, there's so many. I love the Strategy Hour podcast by Collective. Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn is one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is really good. He's the classic. I'd say those are the two primary ones I listen to. I've also gotten into Gold Digger by Jenna Kutcher. I think she's great.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
So beautiful. Oh my God.
I'll have to add those to my list. I need to get more into podcasts and listening to that. 'Cause idea generation, just being out there and like seeing what other people are talking about and what other people want to know, or when you learn something new and then you show someone else how to do it. I love that.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. And you don't need to be an expert for that. So you don't need to be an expert to teach someone some basic thing. If you learned how to do it and it was helpful for you, it's probably going to be helpful for someone else. So I feel like people often think like, oh, I'm not an expert on whatever. But if you just share your information that you learned, you're going to end up one. So
exactly. I love that. So Erica says, do you work with a graphic designer for your clients' websites, or is the client responsible for giving you the image for the websites?
Okay, yeah. So in terms of like logo and stuff, I will, I recently added branding to my services, so I will do that as well. Awesome. In terms of actual images though, so they're responsible for getting their images and their text together. If they don't have any images, I'll definitely point them in the direction. In my welcome document, it has links to different places you can buy stock photography, or say like Unsplash, free copyright free images. I give them a bunch of links to different places where if they don't have images, they can get them. But a lot of them, I think now, the higher priced my packages have gotten over time, the more seriously I think people take their new websites. So a lot of my clients now have had photographers go take pictures of whatever. And so they generally come with them now, and they aren't so much using the stock stuff. So I guess that changes a bit as you get into higher price projects.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. So they would provide me with their, high quality photo shoot images. And then, I had teamed up with Cassie, and she was the graphic designer. And so she did all the graphics. So you're now doing the graphics for your clients.
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing. It's so great to be able to do it, to just do it all at once yourself.
Yeah, it is really nice. Yeah. Especially when you have a 2-week process, you're like, I got to get this. And I don't know if other people can work within that. So being able to do it yourself is really useful.
Yeah. Okay. Chelsea says, do you have to have .squarespace in your URL to have a Squarespace site?
No, ma'am.
No, yeah, you can add your custom one, right?
Yep.
Or how does that work?
Yep. So you can buy, so when you can either use the .squarespace, I think that's free, or what you can do is you can buy a domain. They're like 10 to 20 bucks a year. You can buy them through anywhere like GoDaddy, or you can also buy them through Squarespace now. They've launched that this past year, that you can buy them there. Okay. So you can just buy it all within your like back end of your website. So it's super easy just to sort of keep all your bills in one place. So I actually buy them through Squarespace. Oh,
you did buy it through Squarespace?
Yeah, but it doesn't have the .squarespace.com. It can be like thepagestudio.com, something else. Yeah. That's
great. And then, and you would recommend that, doing it all together versus doing it from GoDaddy?
Just for the simplicity of it. Honestly, linking the GoDaddy domain to the Squarespace website also only takes like 3 clicks, so it's also not difficult. But yeah, just for me, I just keep all of the bills in one spot, and so I like that. But either way is really easy. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know that that's a newer feature that they added in, so that's great. Yeah. But connecting GoDaddy to Squarespace is also, like you said, really easy. So
yeah.
Let's see, who else do we have here? Erica says you stated that you use content marketing as a strategy to get clients. How often do you publish content on your blog and other platforms?
Yep, good question. So I publish on my blog twice a week. I publish on Tuesday and Thursday. And I wrote that on my website. I was decided that I was going to publish every damn Tuesday and Thursday if it killed me.
Smart.
So on the blog page, it says new post every Tuesday and Thursday. And that's probably more for me than it is for anyone else, just to be like, you need to get it out. So yeah, twice a week. Honestly, if you want advice on how often to post however often you can post consistently. So that is the way to go with that. So I found 2 a week is good for me. I can manage that. In terms of posting on other social platforms, I use Pinterest, and Pinterest is a big one for me. It brings people to my blog. And so I use Board Booster, and so I honestly do not ever touch it, and it just grows followers and people to my website, and I love it. So yeah, that's what I do for that. So I've populated a lot of boards, but I'll just pin my own posts, but then Board Booster sort of repins stuff for me. So I don't really have to do any of that. Facebook, I was doing really well for so long. It was like 1 a day, and then I just fell off the bandwagon this past month. And then I've considered getting into YouTube, but I'm not going to start it until I can do it properly. So yeah, just 2 social platforms, which is simplistic, but I'm good with that.
Yeah, if it works, you don't need to be on every single platform, just doing a couple really well. I love that you use Board Booster. That's so cool. We teach that inside the Tech Skills course, and I've seen it work so well for my clients.
Amazing. I love it. That's $5 a month.
Yeah, I know, and it's so reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So Erin asked, how did you get your start? Which we sort of talked about a little bit in the beginning, but maybe if you just want to briefly talk about that again.
Yep. So I started by starting my own travel blog, and I taught myself how to build a website basically on Squarespace at that time. And then, honestly, I love doing it so much. My website was getting a constant facelift, which is not good, really. And so that's how I sort of taught myself. And then I did a project for free for a nonprofit. I just randomly met them. They needed a website. I wanted to start a website design studio. I needed a portfolio. So it just kind of worked out. Then I built, so I only had like 2 websites at that point. So I built some other just like fake websites, and then put those in my portfolio, got some real clients, and then started using those in my portfolio.
Perfect. So Jakey says, how often do you update your business website? And do you happen to offer to update your client's website later on for a reduced rate? So there's 2 questions in there.
Yeah. How often do I update my own website? All the time. I should probably not do it as much. I think it's my best form of procrastination is like updating my own website. So I update it pretty often. Just like tweaks here and there to the copy or to the portfolio pieces or whatever. But you don't really need to update your website as often as I do, I wouldn't say. I'm just doing it because I'm wasting time, really.
That's an interesting way to procrastinate.
Yeah.
You're a true website designer.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of content on your blog, like you would want to if you were doing a blog, you would want to update that regularly, at least like once a week or at least once every 2 weeks, to show that it's still like a living thing and you haven't just abandoned it. And then what was the second one again?
So the second one was, do you offer updates to your client sites, like ongoing afterwards at a reduced rate, or I guess how do you do that?
So I don't normally do hourly work for people. I normally just do full packages, especially because I have that like 2-week thing. So I really want to commit to one person at a time. But if I realize that clients sometimes are like, oh, I need some new page or whatever. Most of the time they could do basic updates by themselves because we've done a lesson together. So they can do like changing images, banners, text, all changing links, that sort of thing. But then if it comes to something bigger, then what I do is they just send me an email with whatever they want done. I have an hourly rate, and then I let them know, okay, this is how many hours it's going to take me. This is when I can get to it. Generally, something smaller I can get to within like the week or the next week. And so my hourly rate, I only really give it to clients. It's just a regular hourly rate. It's not discounted for them, just because I really only do hourly work for my own clients, not so much for other people.
Cool, yeah. And so you don't have any sort of ongoing kind of maintenance packages, because with Squarespace you really don't need to do that. So I know that
honestly they would be paying me to do a whole lot of nothing. And so Squarespace takes care of basically everything. Like with the internet, this is my example now, switched to HTTPS and got all secure. Squarespace just did it, and they were like, click enable HTTPS, and that's all we had to do.
Oh my gosh, so simple.
Yeah, and so Squarespace honestly does a lot of what web developers do for WordPress, like retainer packages. So there really isn't a point in me charging them monthly, because they would be paying me to not do anything. So, but if they need something bigger done, like a new page or a new service added or something, then they just hire me hourly, and I can just do it quickly for them.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's see, what else do we got here? Caitlin says, what do you recommend to someone who has a blog on WordPress but wants to switch to Squarespace? Is there a way to transfer the content?
Yes, there sure is. Yeah, you'd have to Google it to get the exact specific steps. But yeah, so there's an export function in WordPress. There's also you can either export it out of WordPress, or you can go into Squarespace, create your website, and then like it links up somehow, and you just transfer it over, and it all just moves over for you.
So it would pull all of the blog content.
Yes, and it's only for the blog, not for like any other page on the website. So it will take all the blog content, the images, the links, the text, everything, and it will export it out of Squarespace or out of WordPress into Squarespace. And so it's just this automatic thing that does it for you. But definitely Google it. So there's all the steps, but that's basically how it works. You don't have to like copy everything yourself. It does it for you.
Oh, that's great. And it only works on blog content, not on page content.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to know. Okay, we got Amber says, how do you manage client design revisions on Squarespace?
So you can, on Squarespace, even before your website is live on like an actual domain, you can just take the link and then you can send it to them. And then they can click that, view the website as if it's sort of live, but really only they can see it. So then they go on their website, they can go on like their phone to go on it, or they can go on their desktop or their tablet. You can see everything, and then they send me an email, and I say, just give me one big numbered list, so that if we have to discuss anything, I can go back to like number 3, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's good.
And so they just send me a numbered list. I go through all the edits. If there's any problems or advice I need to give them, I'll be like, oh, regarding number 3, this. And then once I finish the edits, I say, okay, here's the link again. You can go look at it live. And it's just sort of like a back and forth of that.
Okay. I love that you like keeping it numbered. I started doing that with my clients, and that has made a huge difference, because I could just, like you said, just reference.
Yeah, exactly.
Like number 3, number
super
5.
Confusing.
Oh, yeah. And she is adding on to that question. What if you make edits to their website and they don't like it? Do you duplicate the page you're updating first?
I don't, and I haven't had that problem yet, but it might be a good idea. Or sometimes what I'll do, this happened, say they want to see it a few different ways, so I'll update it, I could duplicate it, do it the other way, and sort of like have both ready, and then just like take a screenshot or whatever, or send them the links to both, so that they can see the 2 different ones, and then sort of decide between the 2.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, sometimes you make a change and then they're like, wait, I want it back the other way, or like I want to see a couple ways, although like I haven't run into that either much.
Yeah, it's not, it wouldn't happen as much as you would think.
Yeah, exactly. So Yale says, how do you teach your clients to use Squarespace?
I have a little lesson plan that I made. So I think what I did when I first made the lesson plan was I went through just like every tab on the left-hand side of Squarespace, and then sort of went through and picked out like, okay, what's most important for them. And then I also do make notes as I'm designing. So if there's anything specific and like different about their website or their template, I make notes of also what I should teach them about. So it was a process of sort of going through other training materials for Squarespace, seeing what I thought was most important, and then making notes while I'm designing if there's anything like specifically different about their template that they need to know. Sometimes like banner images are changed differently or background colors are changed differently per template. So that wouldn't be on my like overall design lesson, but I'll have that written in a note to mention to the client.
Something specific. So you have all of the same lessons for each client, and then you just do some specific stuff.
Yeah. So I have like a lesson plan just to sort of give me prompts as we're talking. So I'm not missing anything, but then it is sort of tailored to each person. So it's on the back of their own website. So the website doing the lesson on changes every time. Which is really good because if you're on a different template, things can be different. So seeing it on their own website is really good. And then I do tailor it to their skill level. Sometimes I'll have like people who are 60 years old and 20 years old. There's a huge difference in what they can manage. So it's also just tailored to their tech ability as well.
And just talking a little bit about the themes, how do you recommend the theme to them? Like, how do you go about choosing a Squarespace theme for each site?
Yeah, rarely, but sometimes they will have already researched it and been like, I want this one. And I say, okay, sounds good. And then other times, most of the time, I'd say they aren't quite sure. And so when they give me their content and they tell me, some are like, I need a sidebar. And then I know, okay, I need a template with a sidebar. And so on my website, on the blog, there's a template comparison chart. And so I actually refer to my own chart.
So much content. I love it. It's like, here, go here.
That's my goal. That is my goal, is to make the go-to Squarespace location. So so I have the template comparison chart. I'll look at what they say, like, I want banner images that scroll through with pictures. And I know, okay, that's this template. So I will give them recommendations. Sometimes it's just one. Honestly, best Squarespace template, hands down, no question, is the Brine template. It is unbelievable.
I've seen that one a few times. Okay.
Brine is the name of a whole family of templates. So a family of templates, if you want to get tech here. So actually they're all the exact same thing. They're just sort of designed differently. So you're sort of have like a starting point closer to what you might want when you go on the templates page to pick one.
Okay.
But the back-end functionality of a template family is all the exact same. So Brine, I think, has like 15 or 16 different variants. They're all the same thing on the back end, but they just start looking a little bit different. But yeah, any one of those 16, they have like the most features, the most style editor options. So I would say that's the one to go with right now for like most cases, unless it doesn't have a sidebar. So if they want a sidebar, I go with that one. But otherwise, that's like my go-to.
Nice. Good to know. Yeah, we have girls asking us about the themes all the time. So that's a great recommendation.
Yeah.
So it seems like we might be having a little bit of a connection issue for some of the ladies out there. It's coming through fine on my end, but they were asking about the 2-week process. Yeah. So if we maybe could just do a recap of that, just in case something's going on with the connection there. But
no worries.
Because it's so great. I don't want them to miss out on that.
Okay, so the 2-week process is in the first week of the design period, I go through and I build out my client's full website. So in order to turn around a website in 2 weeks, I definitely need to have all the content before we actually start the website. And so people are pretty understanding and they get their content on time because they know it needs to be there before I start. I think that's something that holds up a lot of design processes with other people, is like waiting to get the content or waiting to get the new copy or whatever it is. So they know that it has to be there before we start. So in the first week, I knock out the full website design. So on the Monday, we do a consultation call. And so we get on the phone for about an hour and we talk about their inspiration websites, their Pinterest inspiration board, and any like specifics or special requests. I suggest a template. And then I start designing in that first week. And then, I just knock it out. I sit down for a couple days straight and just build a website, take all their content, put it on in. And then I send them a link to the live website on the Friday of the first week. And then they go through, they take a look, they can see it on their desktop or their phone or their tablet. And then they let me know, they sent me a whole email, numbered list with all the details of exactly what they want edited. And so there's no limit on the number of revisions they have. It's not like you get 3 revision rounds or whatever. It's however much we can complete in a week. And so that lights a fire under their ass, and they give those edits back to me real quick. And then I turn them around quick and get them right back. So I just only take on one client at a time. So they get my undivided attention for 2 weeks. And so they know they have their designer for 2 weeks. So that really like makes them get going. And then on the second Friday, I launched their website with them. We get on a Google Hangout call, and we do a 1.5-hour lesson. And then we go through and we launch the website together. So yeah, that's the website in 2 weeks.
Yay! And you take 50% deposit to book their spot, and then you 50% once it goes live.
Yes, and I always book them at least a month out, just because it does take them time to sort of do their client homework and get their content together. So yeah, they book their spot and they pay 50%. Then it's about a month until we actually, at least a month until we start the project. So their deposit saves their design space, so no one else can book it. Then on the Friday, that's when they make their second payment, just before we go live, and then their website is launched and they're off.
Yay! Yeah, that's such a great process. So hopefully the connection is working a little better, and our replay will, I'm sure the replay will be fine. Yeah, we got this. Okay, so we have another question come in. Erica was asking, how did you come up with your pricing?
Yeah, how did I come up with my pricing? Just kind of winged it at the beginning. I did read some books on pricing theory, actually. And back in the day, I had 3 pricing tiers. And the way I set it up, they always booked the most expensive, which was great. So I think I read, what's his name? I think it's called Book Yourself Solid. That was the book I read. It's like something or other. And yeah, he had explained like pricing theory or whatever. And so I researched that a bit, and I did that. And then I sort of looked at what other people were offering and what prices they were offering their stuff for. And then just tried to make myself different or better in some way. But I definitely didn't ever want to price and be the lowest option. When I started, my prices were definitely lower than they are now. Just because you have to like build your own confidence before you can charge higher prices. It's half the battle. And then at the point where I was like, I'm not getting paid enough to do this. I need to like...
It's like that value. You're like, okay, my work's better, so I need to value it.
Exactly. Totally. So with time, they sort of raised, and just go on my website one day and change them and put them up when I'm feeling ready. And so it definitely takes like a lot of courage to end up doing that. And you're always like, oh, will anyone book me? And then they always do. And so
they always do. They always do. Yeah.
In fact, you probably get better clients because of it. So but there's not too much theory behind it. I did read that one book, but otherwise, I don't even use that system anymore, actually, because I just do 2 packages instead of 3.
And I think looking at the industry average, and then deciding like what you also value your time and work at as well, I think is the best. That's along the same lines as what we teach our students. Yeah. So Iris asked, also, are you a part of the Squarespace Circle? If so, how did you become a part of it? Well, I don't know what this is, so can you explain what the Squarespace Circle is?
Can do. There's actually a movie coming out with Emma Watson called The Circle, and it's like super creepy, which I was like, it's really to be named the same thing. So the Squarespace Circle is a community. It's like a forum, basically, of Squarespace website, people who build Squarespace websites. So as long as you, so on your Squarespace account, if you have 3 or more Squarespace websites, you can join the circle. Google it for exactly how, I don't know, they just added me when it first started. They sort of interviewed me. They interviewed a few designers to sort of like learn what we might want in the circle before it actually started. So but now it's something like, as long as you have 3 paid websites, I think, on your account, then you're considered like a more like intense Squarespace user, and then you can join the Squarespace Circle. So it's just like an online forum that you can ask questions, and they tell you a little bit more about like what they're thinking about doing. So like new releases and stuff so like the new image blocks came out. Before they released that to everyone, they released it to Squarespace Circle members so we could test it, and they'd be like, oh, this doesn't work, or this blah. So they just get feedback from us, sort of. And so that's how that works.
I like that. So like you're kind of more involved in it. You're kind of, you know exactly like what's coming up, what's coming out, and then how you can basically add that to your clients' websites and be like more of a leader. Love that. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to bookmark that down. I hadn't heard of Squarespace Circle before.
Yeah.
So Emily says, "What's your favorite part of owning your own web design studio?"
The freedom. So, prime example right now. So I'm in thrilling Burlington, Ontario, Canada. I normally live in Germany though, and so I moved abroad, and it enables me to live abroad and then go home for 2 months at a time and go chill with my family and friends, and still work from wherever I am. And especially with my 2-week design process, because I just have one client at a time, I'm super free. Like if I decide to take a holiday for a week, I'm truly free for a week. I don't need to be worried about needing to get to my inbox because no one's expecting me, like no one needs me for anything really. I do their website, they're polished up and ready to go, and then I can go to Cuba if I want for a week and have no internet, and it works.
I love it. That's a great thing to have when you want to be like location dependent as well. So setting up, you know, taking things like that into consideration when you are building this or designing your lifestyle. Like, is that something you want in your lifestyle? It's so great that you've been able to build that in there. All right. So we're coming up on an hour here, ladies. I'm going to take 2 more questions and then we're going to wrap this coffee chat up. So the second to last question is from Iris. How do you screen clients?
How do I screen clients? I chat with them. Onboarding works. So they get in touch through the form on my website, on my it's a booking inquiry form. They tell me all their details. Then I send them an email, say, hey, let's hop on the phone. So then we chat for like half an hour normally, depends on the client. I tell them all about the process. They tell me about what they're looking for. And so that's sort of a really good way. So I'm talking with them on the phone, and I can get a good idea of if they would be a good client or not. So, yeah.
So you jump on with them before they actually book and secure their spot.
Yes. Yeah. So then after that, then if we decide we want to work together, then I send them a contract and an invoice. They book. I change the availability on my website, and then we go into our 2-week thing.
Love that. So streamlined. So great.
Yeah.
All right. Our last question is from Emily. How many hours do you usually work a week?
That's a good question. And I don't properly know the answer to that. So I love my business, and if I'm not working on my business, I'm probably learning something new I want to do in my business, or I don't know, content creation or anything. So I'm constantly taking online courses and stuff like that. So I don't know if that really is like personal enjoyment or business time. So I don't
Sometimes
know.
It's such a fine line when you're a solopreneur and you like love what you do. I'm like, am I working right now? It doesn't feel like it, but it's sort of related to work.
So it's a gray line between real life and not real life. So I would definitely say I work more than 40 hours a week for sure. But it's kind of enjoyable. So I don't know. I do try to take off weekends and like stay away from my email on weekends and stuff. So yeah.
And you had mentioned before, like a website takes you, you know, you could bang it out in 8 hours. Maybe you're working, you know, 16 to 20 hours on the website. And then maybe another 10 to 15 hours with client communications. Would that be kind of like an estimate?
Yep, that sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah. So you probably work about like 25 hours a week on average.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Sorry, my little nerdy math brain.
No, that's good. That much. That's how much I work.
Yeah. Well, that looks like all the questions that we have today, and this was so much fun. I love talking website design. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, of course.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've just brought really great insight. I love your 2-week process. So I hope the girls enjoyed that as well. And all of the other insight you have is just so eye-opening to being a globetrotting girl boss who is
well, good luck, everyone. Go launch your own online business. You'll love it.
All right, ladies, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Coffee Chat, and I'll see you around Globetrotting Girl Bosses. Bye.
Bye.